the importance of embracing tolerance and universal human rights in all of our communities.
It's very powerful. Now, if it weren't for bin Laden, we probably wouldn't have to endure all the airport security screenings and these pat-downs that some people have to go through. Former Miss USA Susie Castillo says she was violated during one of them and actually posted an emotional video on YouTube after this happened. She's here tonight to tell us what happened and what she wants the TSA to do about it. So, Susie, what is that?
You know, what I want to do, Dr. Drew, is empower people to speak up when they feel violated the way I was. You know, these pat-downs are so different from TSA agent to TSA agent, from airport to airport. And after speaking to the supervisor, you know, she was telling me that the reason for that is because TSA agents don't feel comfortable giving the pat-downs. So, you know, I think there has to be a way that you know, TSA can protect us or, you know, screen us properly that doesn't violate our rights. You know, we shouldn't have to give up our rights in the name of safety. And, you know, if the screenings are different from TSA agent to TSA agent, you know, I asked myself the question, well, how effective are these screenings? Are they actually protecting us?
As soon as you bring up I think this is actually a bigger conversation about how much we want government crawling into our private spaces in many aspects of our life. This is sort of a metaphor for that. But I want to look at what you said on YouTube. Watch this.
I'm crying because I'm just really, really upset that as an American, I have to go through this. And I do feel violated. I didn't think that I would when I had to opt out of the machine, but I completely feel violated. This woman, she touched my vagina 4 times because she went up my leg, up both legs, from behind, and then turned around and did it in the front. So that was my experience this morning at Dallas Airport.
Susie, I don't want to re-traumatize you. Can you talk about this experience a little bit? What did you
Sure.
Did you object while it was happening, or were you just sort of stunned and frozen at the time?
I was definitely stunned and frozen because I had just had a TSA on I was traveling on business, and I live in Los Angeles, so on my way out of Los Angeles, I was chosen for a pat-down, and so I had a pat-down, and I remember thinking, you know, I've heard so many stories online and on the news, and it wasn't that bad, you know, it was fine. And then on my way back, and when I was connecting in Dallas, and, you know, again, I had to get a pat-down, I remember thinking, well, the one at LAX wasn't that bad. This is going to be a piece of cake. Let's just do it so I can get to my gate. And this one was completely different. You know, the woman at LAX didn't actually touch, you know, my private area down there. And, you know, she only went up my leg twice, like each leg once, which seemed sufficient to me. The woman in Dallas did each leg twice, from behind and from the front. And each time, with the top of her hand, you know, just made contact. And to me, that's really violating.
Were you wearing a dress?
And I was just frozen.
Were you wearing a dress?
I was wearing leggings.
Leggings. Yeah.
No, I was wearing leggings.
And yeah. I can imagine. I mean, frozen, like scared, right?
I was extremely scared, and, you know, furthermore, I know my rights, my constitutional rights, and this is a direct violation of our Fourth Amendment rights, and that's a huge problem.
And why were you selected for a pat-down? I mean, let me just say, personally, I must fit, so if they're doing any profile, I must fit some profile out there, because literally I get patted down and selected, all pulled out of line all the time, and sometimes they know me by name and still are busy patting me down. How does that work? How does that work that you can know who somebody is personally, you know, and oh, dude, come on, I got to pat you down. Why were you patted down?
Right. Well, you know, I saw 2 lines. I noticed when I was at DFW that there were 2 lines. One that was going through the body scanner, and the other was just going through the metal detector. And the line for the metal detector was actually longer, but I waited in that line. My husband and I were traveling together, and we both waited in the longer line because we've read about the dangerous, you know, how radiation accumulates in your body over the course of your life, and it's dangerous, and we do travel a lot. I have no choice but to travel for my job. I'm an actor and I'm a host, and I said, you know, I'm not going to go through those machines. I'm not going to expose myself to additional radiation.
I see.
And so I chose the line. Yeah, I chose the line with the metal, that was just going through the metal detector. And when I got to the front, the TS agent that was there said, you know, ma'am, can you please step into this line? And I said, well, sir, I've been waiting in this line, which has been longer, you know, for the purpose of, because I've been seeing everybody going through the metal detector. And he's like, well, I'm asking you to come in this line now. And I said, well, I don't want to go through that machine because it's unhealthy and, you know, it's dangerous. And he said, well, if you choose to opt out, you're going to get patted down. And I said, that's fine. I will get patted down because I'm not going to go through the machine. So that's where it all started.
I get it. You didn't fit a profile like me. But let me go to what the TSA had to say about this. They have actually a pretty clear statement, and here's what they say. We have reviewed this passenger's screening experience and found that the officer followed proper procedures. We greatly appreciate the cooperation and ask for the understanding of the American people as we seek to move toward a more risk-based, intelligence-driven approach to security. Boy, that's a loaded... I'm dying to know what that even means, but that's grist for another conversation. We cannot forget that terrorists will continue to try to manipulate societal norms to evade detection. We wish we lived in a world where security procedures at airport weren't necessary, but that just isn't the case. So what do you say to that? We got about a minute left, Susie. How do you respond to that statement?
Yeah, well, you know, I appreciate their effort in trying to help us, you know, and trying to protect us and, you know, trying to keep us safe. However, they are violating our constitutional rights. They're touching us inappropriately. And, you know, I mean, like I said, our Fourth Amendment right is just, I take our rights and our freedoms very seriously, and I feel like it's a slippery slope. And there has to be, I mean, with the level of intelligence in this country, we have to come up with a more effective, less invasive form of screening passengers. Because, I mean, touching children inappropriately, I mean, Dr. Drew, I mean, what does that do psychologically to a kid when, you know, growing up, a parent tells them, you know, nobody's allowed to touch you this way. But now, I mean, there's an exception to that rule. I mean, what are you supposed to tell your child?
Well,
and I've been getting hundreds of messages from people with children who are now choosing not to travel for that reason. They don't want to. They just don't want to have to go through that with
Susie,
their child and watch their kid.
Important to be thinking about. Really, you bring up a really important issue, and I think it's actually a bigger discussion about how far we want government climbing into our lives. I really do think that you bring up very important here and something for us all to think about and to talk to our kids.
Well, a lot of us are upset, angry, even disgusted by the TSA screening procedures at our airports. My next guest is no exception. In fact, he is doing something about it. He filed a lawsuit suing TSA, claiming the searches are a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. Joining me now, former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, author of the brand new book, 63 Documents the Government Doesn't Want You to See. Jesse, good to see you again. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Lou. Always a pleasure.
Let me ask you this video. Let's roll this video of this kid being patted down by a TSA agent. I don't know if you can see it there. I'm sure you've already seen it, but I mean, this is
no, I have not. I would enjoy seeing it. I have not seen it.
Well, I wish we could put it up there for you, but I've got to tell you, the kid can't be more than what, 6 years old, if that. Being patted down with a full body search by an agent, it is. I was going to ask you, your reaction to it, but I'll give you mine. It's outrageous. If this were one of my kids, if it were one of my grandkids, I wouldn't want to be responsible for what I would be saying or doing with those agents. I mean, I can't believe American citizens, to be honest with you, Jesse, I can't believe American citizens sit there in a line and let some officer, I don't care who this person is, treat a kid like this.
Well, Lou, how about, I'm suing because of me. I look at it this way. I'm a 6-year honorably discharged veteran. I've been a mayor. I've been a governor. I've been flying for 30 years. And last summer, they went to this extended search or whatever. The first time it was done to me, I immediately went to my attorneys and said, I want this stopped. I don't want any money. I just simply want them to cease and desist and stop treating me like I'm a criminal.
Have you gotten a reaction from, say, Janet Napolitano, the head of Homeland Security? Have you heard from the head of the TSA any apology, any response?
The only response is they want it dismissed. They've put forth a motion to dismiss, and it hasn't got there yet. We filed it in January. It will probably come up to a judge maybe early this summer. And then we'll find out if the Fourth Amendment and if our Constitution and our Bill of Rights still exist in this country, Lou.
It's such a shame the way in which this agency is being run. I'm sure most of its agents are just good, upstanding people, but to be put in the position where
Lou,
you're doing that to a kid, I mean, it's just disgusting.
Lou, what about if they send them into the X-ray machine, a child like that, and they take photos of them? Isn't that child pornography?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. In my opinion, it's un-American, it's unprincipled, and it is simply disgusting conduct on the part of any agency of this government, which, by the way, used to be our government, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not our government anymore.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Let me turn to, first of all, I want to just say, commend you for filing the lawsuit. Everybody who travels and has had to put up with this nonsense wants to say thank you, I'm sure.
The next time we have an election here, vote for anyone but Democrats or Republicans. Anyone but them. Because they're bought and paid for. They've sold out to multinational corporations. They're not making decisions to benefit our country. They're making decisions to benefit their benefactors. And they've sold their soul, as the old cliche goes, to rock and roll.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.